What's up, pod pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are listening to Podcasting Business School, the podcast where I teach podcasters how to love their show like a hobby and build like a business. I am very excited about this. We're doing a podcast audit with my pod pal Lisa from the Feng Shui Living podcast, and she had to give me a tutorial on how to correctly, try to pronounce the term in her name. I'm still pretty sure I messed it up, but I'm from Indiana. She lives in Indiana. She understands what I'm dealing with here. But no, she's got a super cool show. I definitely want to cover how we met. We met at Podfest and kind of did a little session there. But regardless, Lisa, welcome to the show.
Hey, Adam, thank you so much for having me. I've so enjoyed following you ever since Podfest. I wasn't planning on coming to your session, but I told everybody that was the first session I went to, and I paid for my ticket in the first 30-minute
Yes.
session with you.
Well, that's great. I love, hopefully Chris Krementos is listening right now from Podfest. Shout out to Podfest. But no, I love that. I love being somebody's kind of home base point from the Podfest connection standpoints and things like that. And so you attended my session. You grabbed one of the spots I threw out to do like one-on-one coaching with, and that's something I do at events now. So just talk about like what made you want to do that first, and then we'll kind of dive in. So I like kind of hearing the backstory of like, I know what I did up there worked because I had my schedule filled up, but I always understanding like why you decided to jump in there and do a little one-on-one coaching with me.
Well, I think you're just really real and authentic and down to earth and not, I just started my podcast in August, so still new, and I didn't know what I didn't know, and you delivered it without making me feel overwhelmed, which was
Good.
really good because there's so much between the technology, between terminology of this stuff in the podcast world. It's all new, and I don't want to say dumbed it down, but you really explained it in an easy way for me to then have a place to grow from. So I was super excited to get the session with you because I knew my name kind of stunk, the original name I had. I mean, I'll say it. I made up a word because I thought it would be cute and people would remember it.
Right.
You can't find it. And now I look back and giggle and I'm like, okay. And so, I knew what I wanted to move forward with changing the name. So I was so excited to get, just even a little bit of your time to get some advice on that.
Yeah. Well, I think you brought up a really interesting point. Like we all create that cute name at first that we think people is very memorable, but nobody can remember it if they don't find it in the first place. So that's kind of what a lot of podcasters are dealing with. And you and I sat down and kind of jammed out, and you made some shifts. And so, what was the old name of the show?
Oh, do I have to say?
You got to say it.
Revive and Thriveology.
Revive and Thriveology. Cool sounding name, but
It sounds
again,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's your heart was in the right place. So now
Yes.
we have a
Yeah.
little bit more of a discoverability factor, coming into
Mhm.
play with the name of the show.
Mhm.
Um, so give me a little update on your brand goals now. You kind of made that rebrand shift. You're early
Mhm.
on in your podcasting game, which is nice. Like, I love catching people in their first 50 or so episodes, the first year of podcasting. I'm like, fix this, this, and this. You're gonna have a much better success
Mhm.
rate long term. Although I do have people like, I'm on episode 400. I just found you. I need help. I'm like, okay, let's dig in. So
Yeah.
we found each other at a good spot in your career. But
Mhm.
where are we at now? Like, what's the next big goal that you really want to start attacking?
Just really growing. I've seen huge growth going from Revive and Thriveology to Feng Shui Living. I mean, it hit me. I was like, Feng Shui is what they're looking for. That's what they're typing in. And then I added the title extension. I followed your episode with all the detailed how to add that. Um, and I've doubled in listener. I mean, it's still small,
Good,
but I've
good.
doubled in a month and a half.
Yeah, and doubling is
So
doubling, and that needs
hey,
to
I'll
be
take it.
celebrated. Yeah,
I'm so excited.
yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm really passionate about what I do and I want to get it out there. So that's my thing. I've shifted my episodes. I'm getting rid of so many interviews.
Good.
It was just too much. Number one, it was a headache coordinating everything. I also you'd kind of explained at in one of your episodes the importance of being the expert and not bringing other experts on. So if I do have an interview, it's someone to support my work,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
I'm doing so a lot of solo episodes, a few interviews, and then I started implementing Feng Shui audits. So someone can submit. I have a form for them to complete because it's very easy online to just do a quick audit of their home. Just looking at the floor plan of your home, I can tell you so much about your space. And 3 easy tips to if your home feel kind of depressed lately, or if you're feeling stressed out, like things you can easily implement. And I this is kind of where I'm struggling with, is getting people on board to do that.
Okay. Okay.
I think they're afraid I'm going to show all these pictures online of their home, or yeah, I don't know. And it's really fun. I think it's tons of value. I've only released one audit so far, so I think that might be some of it too.
Yeah. Okay. So you have very normal concerns around that, around like the what I refer to as a coaching style episode. People are like, what if she shows my terrible curtains that have like cat pictures on them or something? Like what?
Yeah.
Am I going to get made fun of here? So there's kind of the need for social proof. There's the need. Um, I mean, really, all these things get solved as you release more and more of these, which is kind of the paradox. Like, how do I get people to do it if they need to hear more and more? Um, but like as you do get more of these out there, people are like, oh, I see the value, and they start signing up naturally, and that's what happens for me with my show. Every time I teach coaching style episodes, the same thing always happens. How do I get people to sign up? How do I get people to sign up without me having to put in so much effort? And it's just kind of, there's like a growth curve where at the very beginning, it's there's a lot of labor for you.
Mhm.
There's a lot of frustration. There will be signups and backouts and no shows, and you kind of get your system down. And the good thing is now you signed up for mine, so you can kind of use this experience as a system that you can duplicate, because I know how sharp you are and you're a great implementer. So, like, the prep email that I sent you last Thursday, I sent you an email. I was like, hey, here's the deal. I need you to confirm. I know you've confirmed on Google. I know you've got the calendar, but I need you to respond back to me in this email by Sunday. I give you specific time, 6 a.m., or I'm canceling the session because I don't want to get no show. This is my show. This is my content. This is important. So I kind of level up the whole situation there. I do it with my Adam humorous way. I talk about the YouTube and Facebook police and all this stuff. But I send that email to everybody on Thursday going, listen, you need to confirm by Sunday, 6 a.m. And if they don't, I do cancel the interview. And then about half of those times, people respond back going, hey, what happened? And I'm like, you didn't respond to my email. And then there's like all these things. And I let people rebook or whatever. But in, here's a little inside uh, behind the curtain with me. For some reason, I don't know what it is, Lisa, but if somebody signs up for a podcast audit and they have a Yahoo email address, or like, AOL doesn't exist anymore, but like one of those like old school email service providers, I'm like, there's no chance they're showing up. They have a Yahoo email address. There's no way they're showing up. And most of the time they don't. As I'm like, that person, if they have a Yahoo email address, they probably never check their email, and they'll forget about this and they won't show up. So I almost automatically cancel. So if you have a Yahoo email address out there, make sure that you change it to like Gmail or something, welcome to the year 2000. Let's get a Gmail email address. So Hotmail, same thing. Nope, not going to show up, guaranteed. But anyway, so we have to do that like confirmation to get them in. We, get the reps out there, get the episodes out there, but we have to get those first few in the
Mhm.
bank. So we got to chase people down. So what I did with this brand was I was like always on Instagram stories, my newsletter, my email list. I'm just hitting people up like, who wants to do this? I'm always just chattering about it and just grabbing people and then going, listen, this is going to be fun. This is the value you're going to get out of it. It's going to be a great user experience. It's not a big deal for you. For me, I'm like, hey, you get to shout out your podcast and this and that. So you kind of have to figure out, what is that factor for you? Is there some sort of something that maybe you highlight businesses and they get to shout out their website or their business, and start there versus people's homes? I don't know.
Yeah.
or just like their workspace and their online. You could do like different rounds of features and go, okay, we're doing brick and mortar businesses. Okay, now we're doing at home workspaces for work at home entrepreneurs. I feel like you'll have some fertile ground there to kind of operate from. People that want to promote themselves, but yeah, you get to shout out your business as well and your website on the show and blah blah blah. So that will encourage them to reach out. Um, but look for those sorts of opportunities, and you may just have to grab some of your clients that you've worked with in the past. And be like, listen, I'm doing these. Would love to feature what we did with your home office or with whatever, and how that's working as more of like a success story type episode. So you can kind of approach it from either end. You could be, I don't know you, you come on the show and I coach you, or I do know you, I've worked with you. Let's talk about what we did. And it
Hmm.
serves the same purpose. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Any thoughts or questions about kind of the recruiting process there of just like going out and grabbing people instead of waiting for them to come to you?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I've been reaching out to some friends, but you talk businesses, and I work on a lot of small businesses, people that work from home, home offices, and I don't know, I never thought of it. I actually just worked with a client who sells insurance, so I'm going to reach out to her to do her office.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, I want this to be something that serves you in multiple ways. Obviously, it's expert positioning, great content for your show. You're providing value to that person that's in the guest seat, but also it's potential for business too. Like, you get this insurance agent person on, you do an episode about their office, and you go, hey, do you know another business that may benefit from this, that's kind of into this sort of a thing, and they get, now there's a referral, now you do them on the show, and then maybe they become your client, like, oh yeah, I'm working with so and so, she's the one that referred, and here's the episode that she did, love to have you come on free, get to shout out your brand and your business. So now it's a lead generation tool. So I think that's the way we start to connect the dots. But again, it's like, it's pretty labor intensive up front. Yeah. Until you get your systems down, finding the people, chasing them down, confirming them, reconfirming them, reconfirming them, grabbing them by the shirt and making sure they show up, and
Hmm.
then you start cranking these things out. And all of a sudden it becomes a flywheel where people are listening, going, oh, I got to get onto this thing to where I mean, I don't know how many hundreds of episodes I've done podcast audits. At least, I think I've done at least 200. I
Wow.
would say is a fair guess. Um, so now if I notice like, oh wow, it's a little bit light on the podcast audit signups, I can just send an email and they'll book out for 90 days. And I go, hey, I've got these, I just kind of make people aware, because a lot of times the schedule is full and they're like, oh, it's not even use trying because you can't get in. So I just send out that
Hmm.
email and then they go and fill up, and I've got plenty of them. So
Nice.
yeah. So do you feel a bit better about that strategy as
I
a whole now?
do. I do. I'm
Okay.
excited now. I have a few people already that I'm going to reach out to.
Yeah. And I love the mix of episodes that you're doing, the shift from mostly interviews into solos and coaching style, audit
Hmm.
style episodes. And then when you do have a guest, like, let's make sure it's that what's in it for me factor is there. So is this somebody who you want to be a guest on their show and you're looking to make friends and get an invite back? Great opportunity
Hmm.
for guesting. Are they a potential client of yours? Like, is this a big entrepreneurial firm that you think your audience would love to learn from, but also they could be a great client for you? Let's do that. Let's bring them in and make friends. Um, are they somebody you really look up to, that you read all the books that they put out and you've done all their online courses and you just want a connection to them? It's okay for that guest spot to be kind of self-serving. Like, I interviewed Michael Hyatt and Gretchen Rubin because they were two of my favorite authors. And I'm like, I
Wow.
do all their things. They sell something, I buy it. And that's like why Amy Porterfield has an open invitation to come on my show. And I try to get her on every single year, and I won't stop trying until she eventually says yes. Um,
We'll get the
but
feng shui to work on that one.
yes, Porterfield Feng Shui. Let's get it
Yeah, we'll
going.
get it.
So, that is okay too. Like, some podcasters, they listen to my show and like, I can't have a guest unless I'm like making money from them. Like, no. Like, it just needs to serve you or your audience in some way, shape, or form. And really, let's just stick to that 2/3 content rule of, you're the star of the show, of your show, 2/3 of the time. And we feature other people up to 1/3 of the time. Cool.
Mhm. Sounds good. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk growth a little bit. Because
Okay.
I feel like you got your content is in a good spot. We're optimizing that. We've got good discoverability going on with the name, the title extension. Now it's a great place to put more people in front of your show. So things that we look at, obviously you got the one side of the coin of growth is the organic discoverability. I feel really good about where you're at there. The other
Thank
side is the effort-based marketing. With that, we look at paid ads, we look at social media marketing and email marketing, kind of lump that together. And then we look at guesting on other people's podcasts. Let's start there. How often are you going on someone else's show to be a guest?
once a month, perhaps,
Okay.
maybe twice.
Okay. Well, I think a good baby step is just to set a monthly goal and track it.
Okay.
It's kind of like that. What is it? Pearson's law. What gets measured improves, and what gets measured and reported improves rapidly. So I can't believe I remembered that correctly. It's just kind of, it's like one of those moments. It just zinged right into my brain. I'm like, Emerson's rule or Pearson's rule. See, there I messed it up. So I know I'm back to normal. Pearson's law. So I think just setting a goal, maybe just tracking over a 90-day period. And that's step one. You go, how many shows am I a guest on, just for realistic goal setting? And then you go, okay, last 90-day cycle, 12 weeks, I was a guest on 5 podcasts. Let's ramp that up to 9 in the next 90-day cycle and see if we can then actually put some effort into it. And then we look at like that guest seat on your show. That's what I'm looking at. Like, look at different categories on Apple rankings or Spotify rankings, like different, not necessarily your niche, maybe your niche, but maybe like a tangential niche that you know that you would perform really well with if you're on that type of a show. And then you can bring them back onto your you can do a show swap basically and go, okay, I'm going to look at the top 200 in the entrepreneurship podcast rankings, because I can go on there and talk about my topic, working on people's offices and how that, the whole thing. So your whole specialty within an entrepreneurial setting. And that makes a lot of sense for you. And they can come on and talk maybe some entrepreneurship on your show or whatever makes sense. And then let's start making some connections off of ranked podcasts, because, and I would be inviting them on first, make friends, go for the invite back. My experience is that happens as you start out, you'll get the invite back about half the time. As you get better at this, you'll get the invite back about 80% of the time, which to me is a much better use of my time than doing these spam emails going, I'd be an amazing guest. Guess what? And people don't get it. They don't open them, and we're bombarded by those. But I always open an email that says, I'd love to have you on my show. 100% open rate, like 100%. And, some people have gatekeepers and stuff like that, but you're going to get through, you're going to get a shot there. And then you invite them on, you spend time with them, you add value first. Half the time you'll get an invite back, especially since you got this like niche thing. I just imagine you going through that top 200 ranking in the entrepreneurship list and start with like 200 to 190 and kind of look at those and start inviting people on from that batch. But all these people are doing enough downloads to rank. So they come on your show, you make friends, all of a sudden, boom, you get to go on their show, show off a little bit, you scoop up some audience. Then maybe you go, hey, I noticed that you interviewed so-and-so that was ranked number 125. You don't say that, but like you're kind of eyeballing and thinking through these rankings a little bit, and you're going, wow, they interviewed so-and-so and they're ranked top 100, top 50. Can you make a warm introduction? And now that warm introduction just catapults you up that list, because now you don't have to go through the gatekeeper. That's how I got Gretchen Rubin on my show back in the day.
Wow.
Not because I didn't email her directly. I got an intro from somebody that had already, I interviewed him, noticed that he interviewed her, asked for a warm introduction, got the interview. So they kind of vouched for me, which was cool. So that's kind of the strategy there. But you'll start getting guest spots on ranked shows and scooping up the audience because of your very niche, very specific topic. So any questions about that strategy in general?
No, I think it sounds kind of like a game. It'll be fun.
Yeah. It's networking, and you still stick to your 2/3 content rule. And if you find this really, really working well, you can look at other options where maybe you do 1 week of the month where you do like entrepreneurial highlights or something like that. And you could release 3 interviews or 5 interviews that week. It's like entrepreneurship week or something like that. Or a strategy I like even better is doing a live stream where you do like an entrepreneurial spotlight on Instagram and you invite people on. That way you can get a higher volume of these people into your brand and adding value first. So
Okay.
that's something to consider. If you're like, wow, this is working really well, I really want to do this more often. There's some options there. Okay.
Okay.
And
Nice.
then the other growth strategy I think that you need to look at is podcast player app, banner ads, overcast.fm/ads is my favorite place for people to start, and just investing a little bit of, what's coming in from your consulting business or from your coaching business and going, okay, I'm going to take whatever percent of that, put it into a little podcast marketing account and look at pricing on, I would start with Overcast because it's so simple and
Okay.
just, spending a couple $100 a month on different categories. And for you, you've got such a niche topic, but I think you want to look at tangential categories like what types of shows do your ideal listeners listen to? So are they binging on true crime? Do they love news podcasts? Do they love business or education based podcasts? And then run banner ads in those categories, even if you don't consider yourself that category. That doesn't matter. Like podcasting business school, my most successful ad category on Overcast last year was news, which I am not a news show at all. But a lot of my ideal listeners listen to news podcasts. And that's the thing. That's how we scoop people up. It doesn't have to be
Okay.
your exact category. And it's all based off of pricing. So I'm always looking at like a $7 CPA cost per acquisition, and they'll have charts on Overcast. It's on the right side of the page. You'll see like, okay, right now at this price, you're going to pay $5.60 per new subscriber on average in this category. If that number is 7 or less, I'm in. If it's one of my target categories, but you have to just look at it every day. Don't get like the FOMO. Don't hit the FOMO button. Like it's 14, but I really want to do it. And like, just wait a day. It'll probably go down. Wait 2 days. It might go down. I just want the Adam voice to be ringing in your ears. Like he said, wait till 7 or below. 7 or below, we press go. That's the mantra. I need to come up with something that rhymes for like above 7, blah, blah, blah. We'll leave that up to my listeners. I need a little rhyme to remember the Overcast ads buying price. So, but you can do really well with this. Overcast is a great platform. You can have your ad set up in 30 seconds. Like you pick your category, you pay, you do about a line and a half of text that they put on your banner ad. They use the art of your show as part of the ad, and it goes for 30 days. It is so simple. It is not Facebook ads. It is just extremely simplified, which I love. And it's hard to mess up. You pick the category, you rock and roll. It gets you new listeners for 30 days. And you have a little link to track daily, which is fun. You see like, oh, wow, I had 500 taps on the banner today and 3 new people subscribed to my show or whatever. So I think 2 really strong focus points with growth are going to be the paid ads and then the podcast guesting and just kind of getting those systems in place. And I think that's going to take your show to the next level. And it's so cool when you have people signing up for your audits, signing up and for coaching and paying you. They're like, yeah, I found you on Overcast. And you're like, yes, I paid $175 for this ad and I just got a $2,000 client or whatever. It's really cool. So I think you could do well with that. And any thoughts or questions as we kind of wrap up here?
No, it just makes sense. Overcast, because they're already podcast listeners. I've been debating like Facebook ads, stuff like that, but if they're already listening to podcasts.
Yeah. I mean, you can do Facebook and Instagram ads, and I do those, and I hire it out, Chime House Media, like that's who I use. And if anybody wants a referral to them, let me know. I can hook you guys up. But like to me, if I'm doing it myself, I want to do a podcast player at banner ad, exactly what you just said. They are podcast listeners listening to a specific category of podcast. My banner pops up at the top. Hey, check out Podcasting Business School, podcasting tips for launch, growth, monetization. And it works. Like it just works. It's so simple and I can't screw it up. Facebook and Instagram changes every single day. I'm just like writing checks to Zuckerberg to go buy another goat is all I'm doing. Like, go ahead. It's on me. Take my money. That's why I hire it out to somebody that knows what the heck they're doing. But yeah, I think you can totally do this. And that's a great place to start. I'm telling you, there's nothing better than just seeing your downloads go up. I love the effort and the free stuff and all that, but there's something saying that just like I just paid some money, my downloads go up, and that's awesome. So it's a good feeling. All right,
Yeah.
Lisa,
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we get to shout you out with your website, your social media. If people want to reach out and maybe they want to do your audit session for their show, so how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, I would love to have somebody join me for an audit. Free information for your home or your business. My podcast is Feng Shui Living. My business is Pure Living with Lisa Morton. I offer full Feng Shui consultations, holistic interior design. I'm really passionate about helping women transform their lives utilizing their home interior. Setting up to really have balance and flow in their space. So you can also find me on social media at Pure Living with Lisa Morton.
All right, everybody get there and support our pod pal Lisa. She's got great content. Check out her show if your interest is piqued, and hit that follow or subscribe button to and maybe drop a 5-star rating review. Say, hey, I heard you on the podcast Audit on Podcasting Business School. All right, so pod pals, if you would hop on the schedule, be just like Lisa Morton and come on for a podcast audit, head on over to the website www.podcastingbusiness.school. Click on the freebie button and get signed up. With that, I'm going to send you off into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We'll see you next time.